A long-term study tracking over 30,000 men found something unexpected. Men who ejaculated more frequently had a lower risk of prostate cancer. But here's the problem. Most people completely misunderstand what that actually means. So in this video, we are going to break this down the way it should. What does the evidence actually show, and what does it not? Prostate cancer is one of the most commonly diagnosed cancers in men, especially with age. Its development is influenced by multiple factors including age, genetics, hormonal environment, inflammation, and cellular stress. Because many of these are not easily controlled, researchers are highly interested in modifiable behaviors, things people do regularly that might influence risk, and that's where ejaculation frequency enters the discussion. The most cited evidence comes from a large prospective cohort study known as the Health Professionals Follow-up Study. In this study, over 30,000 men were followed for nearly 2 decades. Participants reported their average monthly ejaculation frequency across different stages of life. The key finding: men who reported 21 or more ejaculations per month had a lower incidence of prostate cancer compared to men who reported lower frequencies, typically around 4 to 7 per month. That's the result you often hear online. But this is where most explanations stop and where misunderstanding begins. This study was observational, not experimental, which means it can identify associations but not prove cause and effect. So the real question is, does ejaculation itself reduce cancer risk, or is it simply associated with other protective factors? For example, men with higher ejaculation frequency may also be more physically active, have better cardiovascular health, maintain healthier hormone profiles, and experience lower levels of chronic stress. Even with statistical adjustments, these factors, known as confounders, cannot be completely eliminated. So, scientifically speaking, there is a link, but causality is not established. Even though causation is not proven, the association is consistent enough that researchers have explored possible mechanisms through which ejaculation frequency can reduce cancer risk. And the first one is prostatic fluid turnover. The prostate produces fluid that contributes to semen. One hypothesis suggests that infrequent ejaculation may allow accumulation of prostatic secretions, including potential carcinogens and oxidative byproducts. Regular ejaculation may increase ductal clearance, reducing exposure of prostate cells to these substances. The second mechanism is inflammation and microenvironment. Chronic inflammation plays a role in many cancers, including prostate cancer. Some researchers propose that regular ejaculation may reduce intraprostatic pressure, improve local tissue conditions, and potentially limit inflammatory signaling. However, direct experimental evidence here is still limited. And lastly, is hormonal and neuroendocrine effects. The prostate is strongly influenced by androgen signaling, including testosterone and its derivatives. Sexual activity may influence hormonal fluctuations and neuroendocrine pathways. But whether these short-term changes translate into long-term cancer protection remains unclear. So, does it matter how ejaculation occurs? From a physiological standpoint, ejaculation, whether through sexual intercourse or masturbation, activates the same prostate and seminal pathways. Current evidence does not distinguish between these sources in terms of cancer risk. This is where clarity is essential. The evidence does not support the following claims: that ejaculation prevents prostate cancer, that there is a specific target number that guarantees protection, that increasing ejaculation frequency will directly reduce risk. These are overinterpretations of observational data. If you step back, prostate cancer risk is influenced more strongly by age, genetic predispositions, metabolic health, chronic inflammation, lifestyle factors such as diet and physical activities. Evidence-based strategies for reducing risk include regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight, diets rich in fruits, vegetables, and fiber, avoiding smoking, and appropriate medical screening when indicated. Compared to this, ejaculation frequency, if it plays a role at all, is likely a modest contributing factor, not a primary driver. Here is the most accurate science-based conclusion. There is consistent observational evidence linking higher ejaculation frequency with lower prostate cancer incidence. There are biologically plausible explanations, but they are not yet confirmed. Causality remains unproven, and the relationship is likely influenced by multiple interacting factors. In simple terms, ejaculation may play a role, but it is not a standalone protective strategy. This topic is a perfect example of how health information spreads online. A real scientific finding gets simplified, then exaggerated into something it was never meant to say. And that raises an important question. How many other health facts are actually just correlations we've misunderstood? In the next video, we will break down another topic surrounded by confusion and oversimplification. What actually determines libido, and why it's far more complex than most explanations suggest.